Hey, welcome to 9394, a music podcast with me, Travis Roy. I very much appreciate you joining me as always. And as almost always, we're here to look at an album that came out in the years either 1993 or 1994. And this time we actually are, we're in the right time frame, not cheating this time. Technically, we're looking at an album that was released in 1993. The music just happened to be recorded many decades before that. And I am delighted to have my dear friend, one of my very best friends, Steve Laskowski, on the show. He's a wonderful man, and he's got interesting things to say about his love for Tom Waits in this album, The Early Years, Volume 2. Here is our discussion. Check it out.
If I was a seagull, high and aloof, I'd sail to your house and perch on your roof. But I ain't a seagull, you know my name, and the winds blow fortune, winds blow pain. And so it goes, nobody knows how to get to the sky, how to get to the sky.
Hey Travis, how are you?
Good, buddy. How's it going?
Good. Can you hear me okay? And
yeah, you sound good. And you got headphones now. You got everything. You're good to rock and roll. Look at you.
all right.
You ready to talk, Tom?
Sure thing.
Tom talk?
Tom
Let's
talk.
talk, Tom.
I'd make it to your house, sleep on your lawn. But I ain't a puppet dog, you know my name, and the wind's blowing fortune, the winds blow pain.
Steve, you're back on 93, 94. I am glad to have you back. This is your second visit. You did Billy Joel the first time, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, and what are you back to talk about with me this time?
Oh man, another heavy hitter, Tom Waits, who I know you've done a previous podcast.
2 episodes, yeah. I did. I did with our friend Chad. I did Black Rider from 1993, and with our friend Eric, I did Bone Machine from 92. I believe it was 92. And which album are we doing today?
We are doing Early Years Volume 2 because it was released in 93 or 94? 93.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 93. And that was one that I bought on CD, I think in maybe 94, 95, with no idea that it was that recent of an album because it's all stuff that was recorded in 1971 before even Closing Time came out. So I just thought this was, it's his early years. This is an old album.
Yeah.
I didn't know. And it turned out I was listening to it somewhat contemporaneously.
Yeah, it was one of those albums that I had heard his other stuff first. And going back to it and listening to that, it just opened my eyes to, holy cow, there's so much more. There's so much more variance to Tom. So
yeah, I talked about this probably with Eric and Chad when we talked Tom Waits, that there was this big gap between Black Rider and Mule Variations. So during that time, a lot of us got into him at that time, and it's well, all we could do is go backward. So we all went backward. And it's I was by 94, 95, when I got this album, I was already listening to Heart Attack and Vine. I was listening to Closing Time. I was listening to all that stuff already anyway. So it was I went through it. Yeah. I went and bought almost every single CD of his that I could find. I think the only one I didn't get was Nighthawks at the Diner. I had everything else. So pretty obsessed with him at that age. But this was one of my go-to albums and has remained so. Whereas I hardly ever listened to Volume 1, just didn't grab me at all for some reason. But Volume 2 is one of the staple Tom Waits albums for me in my life, which is a big deal because he's one of the staple artists.
Sure. Yeah, there's so many great songs on this album. I mean, it starts off with a bang.
Oh my God.
It starts off with a bang, so.
And I hope that I don't fall in love with you. Well, I can see that you you are lonesome just like me. And it being late, you'd like some company. Well, now I've had two. I look at you and you look back at me. The guy you're with, he's up and split. The chair next to you's free. And I hope that you don't fall in love with me.
Yeah, I Hope I Don't Fall in Love with You is a hell of a way to start an album. Yeah, it's a beautiful song. Is that your favorite song on the album?
Oh, gosh, Travis, I hate this question when you give it. I'm actually going to...
You're welcome.
I'm actually going to go with Old 55. I got to go Old 55.
Time went so quickly, I went lickety-splickly out to my old 55. Pulled away slowly, feeling so holy, God knows I was feeling alive. And now the sun's coming up, I'm riding with Lady Luck. Freeway cars and trucks, stars beginning to fade, and I lead the parade.
For some reason, that song to me is the song, and maybe it meant something to me at the time, you know, the hope, the happiness of maybe a new relationship forming or something. But that song to me, it's just optimism, that feeling that you get that we've all had in our lives of something like that happening. It's just, there's so much to that song that I love that song. What a good song.
He takes this one moment of walking out of his new girlfriend's house and getting to his car, and then that drive home. And with that, he captures that feeling of falling in love and the youthful vibrance of that, you know. And it's funny, 1955 is not that far from 1971, but hearing it in the late 90s or mid 90s, you know, it felt very, very far away. Now the idea of someone driving a 1955 car is like, oh my God, this person is fucking ancient. But I guess he's up there now.
Yeah, he is up there. Shiver Me Timbers is another great one too. You know, it's hard to come up with just one. And I know everyone says
well, that's the thing. You know, I've spent a few weeks listening to this album, and I really had a hard time coming up with one favorite song off it. Old 55 crossed my mind, like almost every song on the album did. And Old 55 is like, it's probably the most known song from this album. Like, I think it's, especially from his early years, one of his hits, as much as he had those, quote unquote. So I think it's a really good choice. But yeah, I struggled, man, to find my own. I definitely considered quite a few. I ended up settling on... God, it's hard to settle. I think if I'm really honest, I think I'm going to go with the last song, Old Shoes.
I'm singing this song 'cause it's time it was sung. I've been putting it off for a while, 'cause it's hard to buy now, and the truth is so clear that I'm crying when I'm seeing you smile. So goodbye, so long, the road calls me dear, and your tears cannot bind me anymore. And farewell to the girl with the sun in her eyes, and I'll kiss you and then I'll be gone.
Old Shoes. Yeah, that's a great song. Oh my God.
Old Shoes, it's really beautiful. It's a wonderful ballad. It's a little underrated. I'm not choosing it for my underrated song, obviously, but I think it's a little underrated because like those first few songs are like such punches in the face as far as an acoustic ballad can go. But What a great way to close an album. And it's so in keeping with a lot of the themes that Tom Waits has had from beginning to end of his career. The let's run away and join the circus, or let's run away and be a pirate, or let's run away and do whatever. Like, that's one of the running themes of the album, is like just getting away from everything. And that's been one of the main themes of his career. And the romantic kind of spin that he puts on that, the mischievous kind of like almost childlike, I'm gonna like escape and go into the world. He does that in so many songs, but he does it really well here.
Absolutely. Gosh, that was also one of my ones I was going to choose for favorite song.
I believe it. With Old Shoes, it's a good example, I think, of the way that he can, as a lyricist, that he can take material that seems like it could have been written by hundreds of other people 50, 100 years before him. This kind of like traditional folk kind of feel to a lot of his lyrics, this very Americana type vibe that he's able to inject in it. And it all sounds familiar, even if it's all brand new, at least, when he created it. It's a very comfortable, well, like an old shoe. He's able to hit a lot of familiar notes. He gets weirder later on in his career, in particular when he starts working with his wife, Kathleen Brennan. He gets a lot weirder, and he's always, singing about dwarves and shit. But his earlier stuff was a lot more grounded, almost Bob Dylan-y, like the early Dylan, the less weird Dylan.
Absolutely. There was definitely a huge shift when Kathleen Brennan came in, and not for the bad. I mean, it's just different. Man.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so going back, I listened to some of Tom Waits before the Kathleen Brennan years, early on. I was really young, and in fact, Chad said the same thing. Aaron Reichert introduced me to him years ago, and it was some of this stuff, but I didn't know who it was, or it was always on in the background, so I didn't pay a lot of attention to it. And then Jim Takis and The House, going to his house and listening to the newer stuff, some of the newer stuff. And of course, when Mule Variations came out and stuff, it really, whoa. But then I went back and listened to this earlier stuff again, and that's when I really fell in love with it. So I would have to say, depending on the day, it is probably my favorite stuff. I mean, going back and listening to his early years, before the raspy voice and everything, it's just, there's so much feeling. The ease, as you mentioned, the ease of the songwriting is there. It's very simple in a way, but yet so elegant. And that's not just his lyrics, that's his music too. There's some of that just seems not much to it, but everything's there. It's awesome.
In talking to you and listening to this album more lately, I'm realizing that I, as a Tom Waits fan, have often talked about his career as if it was bisected between before and after Kathleen Brennan and her influence. But really, I think there's 3 stages in his arc as a songwriter, because there's the Kathleen Brennan weirdo era that he's been since like 1981 or whatever. Swordfish Trombones, I believe, would be I think that started. Maybe not 81, but a little bit later than that, but whatever. So there's a cuckoo, like Cemetery Polka shit that he gets into later. And then there's the early years stuff that we're talking about here, as well as like Closing Time and Heart of Saturday Night, which is like, it's almost like James Taylor type shit. You know what I mean? It's almost like 70s kind of contemporary rock type stuff, which is awesome. And then he gets into that jazz era. He gets into like this weird kind of like the stuff that Buster Poindexter ended up lifting off of him, and the Heart Attack and Vine era, where it was all a lot more jazzy. And you hear some of that on this album, the upright bass and like the piano twinkles of like a jazz piano style and that kind of stuff. You hear elements of it here, but it's still a lot more like, I mean, he's a California boy. And it makes sense that he would kind of sound like a lot of the California artists of that era. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Absolutely. But I think what makes him stand out is he mixes all that together. And even in one song, he takes all of these different sounds. And you mentioned this on Chad's podcast, that he does it so well, it almost seems like it's original. The first time anyone's played like this. But it's not. It's just, he mixes it in such a way that it is amazing. And it makes you want to look into other artists and other things, which is huge.
Yeah, I probably made this comparison before, but like Dylan or like Martin Scorsese, like he's one of those guys that is able to lift from his influences and repurpose them in a way that doesn't feel like stealing and doesn't even feel like homage. It feels like
Sure.
wholly original in a lot of ways. What about the ugly side of the coin? How about your least favorite song on this album?
There's one song in particular that I just don't like, and because I don't like the idea of this song, but Nobody.
Nobody will ever love you the way I loved you, 'cause nobody is that strong. Love's bittersweet, life's treasures deep, but no one can keep a love that's gone wrong. Nobody.
We made the same choice. I feel the same way, and partly it's based on the idea.
I mean,
of the song.
musically it's great. I hate the theme of the song. I can't even listen. Yeah.
It's gross.
Yeah.
I mean, that's some toxic relationship. Nobody can love you like I love you, and only a strong person could. And also the delivery of it. It's just. I mean, it's kind of like it's not the strongest song on the album musically, and then you pair that with the kind of weird message of it. It doesn't work so well. So that's why I chose it too. It's still a good song.
Yeah,
it's just Tom
absolutely.
Waits, and I don't skip it. It's not a song that I skip. But if I had to choose a least favorite on this album, yeah, Nobody was kind of the clear. I mean, I said I struggled, and I mean that because I struggled because every song on this album is good. But once I realized it was Nobody, I was able to settle on that. But yeah, I guess
One thing, and I know you love albums, right? You love listening to an album from start to finish. Nowhere do I think that's more important than with Tom Waits. There's so much of his stuff, and in this genre of Spotify and everything else to where you jump around and you jump to different songs, I will buy Spotify just because of Tom Waits. Because when I want to listen to Tom Waits, I want to listen to one album start to finish. I don't want to jump around. I don't want to, if I want to listen to Early Years Volume 1, I want to listen to Early Years Volume 1. If I want to listen to Mule Variations, I want to listen to Mule Variations. And because each song builds upon the last song, and I really think he takes a lot of time and effort into what song should go in what order. I really feel strongly about his albums.
I think that's a great point. Maybe that's got something to do with the rumors that he wasn't happy about the release of the Early Years Volume 1 and Volume 2 from Manifesto Records in 91 and 93, because he didn't intend for them to be released, as I understand it. They were demos, so he wouldn't have had any. I don't think he had any, as I understand it. I struggle to find any concrete information on this, but as I understand it, he had nothing to do with the production of them other than the original recording. And then, they're unearthed like 20 years later. And, he would have had no input on what songs made it on there and what order and all that kind of stuff. So maybe that's partly why he didn't like it. I actually went to go look up something about it in the biography of him called Low Side of the Road. Did I loan that to you?
Yeah, you just loaned that to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. While drunk, which is why I don't remember. Vaguely remember. I'm like looking through my bookshelf. I'm like, where's Low Side of the Road? All right, good. So maybe somewhere in there, that's where I got that information from. Because I couldn't find shit on the internet about how this was released, Volume 2 or Volume 1. Like just some rumors on like Reddit and shit that he wasn't pleased.
Well, classic Waits just add to the mystery behind Tom Waits. The mystere.
Yeah. The mystique. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get back into happier feelings about the album. I definitely struggled to pick an underrated. I always struggle. I mean, apparently struggle is my word. On Cinema 9, we use the word society a lot. I think struggle is my most used word on 93, 94, because I'm always grappling. I'm wrestling with my choices here. So what did you end up landing on for your underrated track here?
I have something to say. I have a song, but
okay.
I don't, to me, I felt like there is nothing really underrated about any of these songs. I think they all kind of stand on their own, and they're all out there, and they're all beloved in a way, so it's hard to say underrated. So it's, I really thought, and it's just because the way it makes me happy every time I listen to it, but I'm going to go with Blue Skies.
Blue skies over my head, give me another reason to get of bed. Blue skies shine in my face. Give me another woman to take her place. Ain't got no money, cupboards are bare. No cigarettes and the kids got nothing to wear. She walked out without a word. Now the only sound left is that morning bird singing. Blue skies over my head. Give me another reason to get out of bed.
It's a great choice. I think it's a good choice. It's not like Old 55 or I Hope That I Don't Fall in Love with You, where it's kind of a song where you automatically think of when you think of the album, at least I do. But Blue Skies is one of the songs that when the album's over, that's one of the songs that carries in my head and like is stuck in my head for the rest of the day, because it's a feel-good song.
Yeah, it's a feel-good song. It just makes you upbeat. And not all Tom Waits songs do that. So it's kind of a palate cleanser, if you will. It's one of those songs that, again, it's not one of his best works, but it's a good damn song. I love that song.
Yeah, but it's got some sadness to it too, because I mean, I interpret it to being about him depressed after a breakup. Mm-hmm. Give me a reason to get out of bed, trying to find a new partner to make him happy again, but also being aware that, hey, the sky is blue, it's a nice day, things are actually okay. So it's kind of a mixed bag, and that it's like you start listening to the lyrics and it's like, okay, maybe it's not as uplifting as light as it feels on a first pass.
It's a hopeful song.
But also it's very hopeful. Yeah. So it's not like a light song and that it's like popcorn, but like, yeah, it actually deals with some kind of heavy issues like depression and gives you hope for them. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's a great song.
How about you?
I similarly, like I've heard this so many fucking times, like it's really hard to be like, this song's underrated or that song's underrated, but I did end up landing on a song because I think that in most of my passes through the album for most of my life, it wasn't one that stood out to me as much as it did on this visitation of the last few weeks. And that song's Mockingbird.
Mockingbird high in the tree, looks like you got the best of me. Mockingbird singing the song, well, the mockingbird is mocking me now that you're gone.
Mockingbird is he whistles in it, which is weird, but it works. And like Blue Skies, I think it actually pairs pretty well with Blue Skies because it's a lighter song. This one probably has even less depth than Blue Skies because it's just I can't tell really what's about a fucking mockingbird, I guess. But it's just a feel-good little ditty, and it's kind of short, and it's just, yeah, it's a simple feel-good song. And I think that's kind of why I blew by it, because in my younger years, I was a very brooding, like early teens kind of guy. I was really hung up on the darker stuff most of the time. So songs that I would have attached to by all artists were usually like the darker, sadder, emo, before I learned what emo was kind of stuff. And so that was maybe why Mockingbird I just kind of blew by for most of my life. But listening to it this time, like, man, this just makes me smile. It's just a great little song.
I love the whistling in it. But I don't think it's a very long song either. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think it's very long, and so that makes sense that it wouldn't stand out. Well, I'm looking on the list here. It's 3.5 minutes, so.
Oh, that's plenty long.
Yeah, it's longer than a lot of the songs on there, so.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it does kind of seem like it skates by kind of quick, but maybe that's because it is, again, kind of such a breezy song.
Yeah, well, the whistling and everything comes in, so not as many lyrics. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's a great song.
Again, I could have picked almost every song on this album as my favorite. I could have picked almost every song as like underrated song, but ask me again in a year, I might have a completely different list of songs I would choose from. But that's one of the great joys of Tom Waits is that, with every time I revisit an album, it feels like it's mine again. Like I'd never walked away from it really, even though it's been quite a few years since I listened to this album. Well, actually, that's not true. It had been quite a few years since I listened to this album until last year when they released it on vinyl. They remastered and released it on vinyl, and I picked it up, and it's a great album to listen to on vinyl.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. When did you do the talk with Eric? Bone Machine.
He and I did Bone Machine, I don't know, less than a year ago.
I have to look that one up. For some reason, I missed that one.
It's there. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but it's out there.
What a great album. All of Tom Waits. And revisiting him here for doing this podcast, almost like Billy Joel and doing the Billy Joel, there's so many albums. There's so much content out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it varies so drastically. It's so hard to... Every song's my favorite. Every time I hear a new song come up or a new album, I'm like, oh, that's my favorite. Oh, that... And I can't get it. It's unbelievable. And then you hear a song, you're like, holy crap, I forgot about that. That's amazing. And so I did a lot of that over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Of just, oh my God, Hang on St. Christopher is amazing. Or I don't know. I was constantly just in giddy surprise over the next song that would come up because I was more listening to it when it was bouncing around. So I didn't know what was going to come up next. So.
Wait, so are you saying you've been digging into a bunch of other albums of his as well?
Yeah.
Right on.
To get the overall feeling of Tom Waits. And I kind of was documenting his discography and when songs came out and when albums came out. I was amazed to see, and I knew this, but I forgot, that his early year stuff, he had an album every single year. I mean, he came out with an album every year. And so
for a while.
Yeah, I mean, he had one in 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78. He skipped 79 and went right to 80, but then there started to be some more variants. But I mean, these aren't small albums. I mean, these are large 11 to 13 song albums. So his content creation must have just been astronomical. I don't even know how you would do that, to be honest.
Well, and a lot of these songs on Volume 2 and Volume 1, the early years, were recorded in 71 when Closing Time was released in 73. So he was writing a lot of shit before he even started releasing albums. And some of these songs showed up on later albums after that or on Closing Time. So I've been reading this Warren Zevon biography for a little while too. And he was someone that would just constantly be writing. And there are songs that are on albums that he had literally written while recording, an album 2 or 3 albums before that. And I imagine Tom Waits probably did that too. If it's your full-time job, I guess you could, kind of sit around and crank them out as long as the muse is with you.
Sure.
But yeah, he is an incredibly productive guy. I do think he's probably done at this point. I'd be really surprised if he released any new music at this point. I know he's done touring, he's announced, which I don't blame him. I don't think he ever liked touring, really. He's a family guy, so...
I hope that's not true, though. I hope at some point the itch gets them to go out. I don't know why it would.
Financial motivation is the itch that gets most people in his age, right? Like when Leonard Cohen toured like a year or two before he died, it was because he'd been ripped off. So if he tours at this point, I don't know that would be a good sign, because I don't think he wants to. And he's earned a retirement as far as I'm concerned. He put out a ton of content, great content over decades. Many world tours, gave people a lot of chances to see him. Did you get a chance to see him?
Yeah, I saw him in Detroit at, I believe it was the Fox Theater with Eric Brandstrom.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he talked about that when he was on. Yeah, I missed that show. I did get to see him in Chicago, and I got to see him at the Ryman Theater in Nashville, which was magic. That was incredible. The Opry, what did they call it? Grand Old Opry. It used to be called the Grand Old Opry. Now it's the Ryman Theater, which does not have the same.
I didn't know it changed names.
Some time ago. It's probably one of those things that the locals probably still call it the Grand Old Opry, but I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. It was wild. It was like a church. I sat in an actual pew. It was awesome.
Well, how big is it? I've seen some of the shows on
big.
TV. It's okay. Wow.
Yeah. Probably about the size of the Majestic Theater here in Detroit, I would say, but a little more cramped feeling, a little more like, because it's seating instead of standing room. So, yeah, it was a great place to see him.
I loved seeing him live.
Oh, man.
It was just, I don't know. Just seeing him, he's such an eclectic man, such a true artist in a way, not just musician, artist. And just seeing him on stage live and close enough. Fox Theater isn't that big. We didn't have the greatest of seats just because we were younger and couldn't spend hundreds of dollars on seats, but still you could easily see him. I don't know, it was awesome. It was really, really cool. It wasn't like seeing someone like, we talked about our last podcast, Billy Joel. It wasn't like seeing him where you're in a huge arena with 30, 40, 50,000 people. You're in a room with maybe 2,000 people, and it's something a little more intimate about that, and knowing that you're there. It's really awesome. One of my favorites.
When I saw him both times, he played a song that wasn't released yet, and they weren't released later until Brawlers, Ballers, and Orphans, whatever it's called. I'm talking about the Rarities triple album. So I saw him, and he did Fish in the Jailhouse in Chicago, and that was super cool. And when I saw him at the Ryman, he did Rain on Me and got the whole crowd singing along with him, even though we'd never heard the song before. Everyone's singing along like it was our favorite song. It was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Or Rain's on Me, what it was called. Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to say about Tom or this album before we get into the final bit?
Just how he's amazing. He is just utterly, and every album its own. It's a saga that you can listen to, and it's a great saga. And I love every single song. And there's so much out there that you can't possibly remember it all until you go back through it. And you're like, holy crap. It's just surprising. Everything about Tom Waits is surprising. It's all really, really good. And there's such variance in everything he does. And I mean, Tom Turbo's to Old 55 to the album you did with Chad, which is Black Rider. Holy cow.
Rider, yeah.
What an album. Alice.
The dude is a national treasure. He's a national treasure.
He really
it's
is.
like, and at the same time, he himself is an artist that is underrated in our country. He's someone that he's a musician's artist. Musicians love him, and he's got a huge fan base, but it's kind of a cult fan base. There's still to this day plenty of people that should have heard of him that probably have not. I mean, he's a pretty famous guy. Don't get me wrong, but he could and should be as big as Billy Joel or Dylan or James Taylor or any of the other guys we mentioned.
This was years ago, I was in Italy, and we stayed in this little place in Sorrento, and every morning we go down and get a cheap little cappuccino, and everyone there is so personal. They all talk to you and they want to get your story. And the owner, Giacomo, a really young guy, him and his sister ran this place, and he was asking me who my favorite artist was, and I had mentioned Tom Waits, and he loved it. He's like, Tom Waits, and like he was a super fan, and he turned me on to, and I can't even remember the name now, but he turned me on to like an Italian Tom Waits. I think maybe years ago I passed that name on to you.
I remember that, but I don't remember the artist, but I do remember you passing that on to me.
I listened to him for a little while, but I could see what he's saying, but I mean, I kind of, the language barrier in songs is hard. It's hard to get over.
Especially when part of the draw of Tom is his lyrics, right?
Correct, yeah. But man, he is well known in other countries, especially. I think he really is more known in other countries than even here, which is sad and silly in a way. But a couple things I want to say that I thought were really cool, and doing some research and looking up albums so I can listen to songs and stuff. There was a common thread in YouTube about Tom Waits, and I saw it 4 different times on 4 different comment threads. And there's a version of "This Man Saved My Life" type thing. Like it's the type of music that people listen to maybe when they were going through trouble or going through struggles or had PTSD. And so that's the type of music that Tom Waits makes. It's so encompassing in your life that it really can get you over some times, which I think is really, really cool. And another quote that I thought was hilarious. Tom is one of those people that could explain a blade of grass and it would have you in tears. And I thought that was really, really cool, just because his lyrics are simple, but they're not. There's so much there, and he's a master, true master.
Yeah, I think you hit on something too. Like part of the reason that his fan base is so fervid is because everybody that loves his stuff has a deeply personal connection to him. Like he's someone that gets people through shit, like you say. That's a good point.
I want you. All I want is you. All I want is you.
Okay, so I typically do some sort of trivia type thing at the end of my pods. I have a little game for you here we're going to play on a topic that is not near and dear to your heart or mine, not something you and I have ever discussed in detail that I recall. We're going to talk cars today because of Old 55. I'm going to give you a name of some different cars. You tell me if this was a model of car that was introduced in the year 1955 or not.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. So you got it's one of those ones where like you might know some of this shit, but probably not. I mean, I wouldn't know any of this shit, but you got like a 50-50 shot, right?
Sure.
All right. So let's start with the Aston Martin DB4.
No. Nope. Not 55.
You are correct. That was released in 1958.
Oh, yeah. Yes. 1 for 1.
1 for 1. The Saab 93, not to be confused with the Saab 93. The Saab 93.
I'm going to say no. I didn't even know Saabs were around in 55.
They were. That was the year that the Saab 93 was released, was in 1955.
All right.
The Jaguar Mark I.
Stick with my trend of no.
You are wrong. That was released in the year 1955.
What the hell?
The Chrysler 300, the letter series specifically.
Oh, in 55. What day are we going?
Don't you drive a Chrysler 300?
I do have a 300, yes.
You start calling it.
Start calling it the old 55? I'm going to say yes, just for fun.
Yes.
Thank you, Travis.
Tilted my hand.
You gave me that one.
Good job. That was released in the year 1955. The Studebaker Lark.
No way. That was
59.
59. All right.
59. Not that far off. 59. The Oldsmobile Golden Rocket.
That sounds like something that would be released in 55.
It was 56. It was a show car released by Oldsmobile in 56. So
Golden Rocket.
The Golden Rocket. I looked at the picture. It was a fine looking car, very space age looking car. I don't think anyone bought it. I think it was just like a show car.
Probably,
I don't think it was like a real car. The Ford Thunderbird.
Oh gosh. Let's go. Yes, 55.
The first generation of Ford Thunderbirds was released in 1955.
Right.
The Mercedes-Benz 190 SL.
I have no idea, so let's go with no.
That was released in the year 1955.
Son of a... Way to go, Mercedes.
Last one, the Edsel, is in Edsel Ford, the Edsel Corsair.
Ah, the Corsair. For some reason, I picture that as being like a 60s car, but I'm going to say no. It's going to be a little late. 62.
You're correct. It was 1958. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 6 out of 9. You only got 3 wrong. That's pretty good. No, 4 wrong. You got
4 wrong, yeah.
How's my math here? Wait a minute. Yeah. So you got 5 out of 9. Okay. That's a pass. That's a passing grade. That's good. You skated by in the skin of your teeth.
For your gimme.
Metaphors.
Thank you.
Well, in honor of the show, you have to now refer to your car as the old 55.
And then... I absolutely will. Get in the old 55. I gotta go.
My friend, it's always good to see you, even if it's not in person, but I know I'll see you next week and we'll raise our glass together then.
Sure. Looking forward to it. I can't wait. And Travis, thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you. I appreciate you helping me out and coming on, buddy. I love you. Talk to you soon.
Love you too.
Bye.
And I'm leaving my family. I'm leaving my friends. My body's at home, but my heart's in the wind, where the clouds are like headlines on a new front page sky. And shiver me timbers, I'm a sailing away.
I thank my buddy Steve once again for coming back on the show. He always does a great job. Just one of my favorite people to talk to about anything. And getting to talk to him about Tom Waits is real nice. I'm always looking for new people to come on the show and talk about albums that they love. And at this point, I have done every album of Tom Waits from the 1990s. And I said I would do all of the Tom Waits 1990s albums. The only one I haven't done yet is Mule Variations. So if you want to be on this show and talk Tom Waits, that's the only one left really that we can do at this point. And it features this song, for instance, that I legit 100% want played at my funeral.
Well, the moon is broken and the sky is cracked. Come on up to the house. The only things that you can see is all that you lack. Come on up to the house. Oh, your crying don't do no good. Come on up to the house. Come down off the cross. We can use the wood. You gotta come on up to the house.
Play when everyone's walking out, after they shed their tears and have properly, grieved. But, they need something sad but also uplifting at the same time to walk out to. Come on up to the house is my choice for that. You can write the show and tell me what your funeral song is if you want to. I'm always curious about that kind of thing. What song do you want people hearing when you're dead? I want this song. And I also want Time to Move On by Tom Petty. But this is about you now. So you can email me at 9394podcast@gmail.com. You can find me on Blue Skies. I'm on Facebook. I don't check it very often, but you can find me there. You can do any album that you want from 1993, 1994, or the 1999 album, Mule Variations. I will make an exception in that case. A quick correction to make. I kind of stumbled over a fact in this episode. I said that the Ryman Auditorium used to be the Grand Ole Opry. It would be more accurate to say that the Grand Ole Opry used to be hosted at that venue. It's technically a show, not a place, but I guess then they got too big for the Ryman and they moved and made their own place, and that is the Grand Ole Opry. I'm sure that Nashville locals and other people, this is very basic information to you, but I clearly fucked it up, so I wanted to make sure that I corrected myself for any listeners. I do that on the show. I make mistakes. When possible, I like to try and, amend them. Okay, that is where I'll leave it for today. I thank you for listening. Please do rate the show, on Apple or Spotify or whatever platform you listen to the show through. Subscribe or follow or, give 5 stars, whatever that whole bit is. Please do that. And is there anything else I need to tell you? I don't know. I feel like I'm just dragging this out now, so I'll stop talking. Thank you and goodbye. '93, '94, a music podcast with Travis Roy, is a labor of love. It is not and never will be monetized. Please don't sue.